Let me ask you a question.
Go for it.
Like, I want you to think about this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How many friends do you think you have made just off the first interaction head nod? Yes.
I mean, I think that's how we became friends. We didn't have there's no like storybook. We were in the same chess club, football team. Remember the Titans? I think we just were like, nice shoes, man. You too. All right, see you tomorrow. Yeah. Then next day, hey man, keeping your shoes clean, and then it just grows from there, And then then anybody that you introduced me to was like, this is Alvin.
Right.
What's up, man? And then now we're cool. So I would say, I mean, most of my friendships come from like hey man, what's up? Hot outside, huh? Yeah, it's hot as hell, man. Just staying cool. All right, man, you have a good one. That's the normal.
I wouldn't say, I guess you can call them friends, I guess, but.
And that's also, I was going to ask you to clarify, because me, I have about three friends.
Right. I mean, like people
I think I'm a lot of people's friends, but I'm not. I have about three friends.
Yes. Well, people like if you see them, you would go, hey man, what's up? How you been?
Cool.
It's been a long time.
We're cool.
That type of thing.
We're friendly. We're cool. Buddies. So on and so forth.
Those people I've met where it's just like we walk past each other a couple times and we just end up being just cool. And then after that, that's pretty much, we not like talking outside of us running into each other. That is it. Yeah. That's kind of like where if you want to call it a friendship, whatever, that's kind of where it stops.
But that also speaks to, now we can get into a conversation about toxic masculinity, because when's the last time you asked another heterosexual man that you thought had a good vibe for their phone number?
I've run into somebody I used to play basketball with back in high school where I saw them at the bank and I was like, hey man, where the hoop at?
Sure.
And he was like, I'm doing one tonight. What's your number? And I go, here's my number.
That's business.
That's business.
That's business. We got to get these buckets.
Right. Other than that, I'm like, hey man, what's your number so we can hang out?
When does that happen?
And it doesn't happen at all. Because after this, I'm going home and I'm going to my bubble and I don't
exactly. But I mean, but there's a deeper level to the fear of rejection, the fear of looking weird. Are you saying I'm wrong? Am I from off base? Tell me. But I'm saying I have not asked another man for their phone number. It's Pride Month. I'm being open and honest about my own toxic, homophobic and toxic masculinity, my own internalized homophobia, and going, I don't know, man. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to ask them for their number. It feels weird if I go like, I like this guy's vibe.
Yeah, that's
what I mean.
You guys would have to have something in common off the jump, where it's like,
we can talk about this. Do you play this game? Do you go? Do you play basketball? That's what I mean. That's business, though.
Yes.
Yeah. Or oh man, you like tacos? I got a taco spot. I'll text you the name of it. Give me your number. I'll text you the name of the taco spot. We both like tacos. Yeah. But just being like, I think this guy would be fun to get a drink with and talk sports. I think most men have this block of like, but that would be weird if I was like, let me get your phone number so we can go get a drink.
It would be weird. Let me tell you
and I think that's wrong, because you're cheating yourself out of a new friend.
That's true.
But go ahead.
I guess. But as a guy at work, where for some reason this guy always wear cologne. Always wear cologne.
Okay.
Great cologne. I love the smell.
Sure.
So I go, hey man, when you gonna put me on the cologne?
Sure.
I'm gonna text you to you. I got you. He doesn't have my number.
Okay.
And I go, okay, cool. But I wasn't going to go, you need my, you still going, you need my number? I wasn't going to do that. It was like, he says that he doesn't have my number.
Yeah.
We both know you don't have my number.
Yeah, so it's just a thing to say.
I won't ever get the cologne because I will never be like, bro, you supposed to text me.
Give me those numbers now. I got to know what that smell is like. Give me that. I got to get that smell off you. I need that. Text it to me when you get home. Send me a picture of it.
Right.
Then you never know. It might go left. He sends you the picture of the cologne, dick in the picture. Now you sent the wrong message because he thought you might have been enticing him because you complimented his cologne. Now you sent the wrong message. So you can.
Now the relationship is.
Then you just can't. You can't ever talk. You can't ever see him again. No. You got to quit your job. So see, sometimes asking somebody for their phone. See, this is why I don't do it. Now I'm getting dick pics in my phone because I say, hey man, I like your shoes. What's your best? Him a compliment of the sexual nature. Sometimes it can be misconstrued. Sometimes the lines get crossed.
Yeah, obvious, we got a problem here. And it's more than just Alvin streaming Punisher. When life begins to suck, who's reporting it? Luckily, you got your friends who you won't forget. Coming live, Alvin and Fran on survival. Laughing non-stop, case drops on a cycle. Louder than intrusive thoughts off an iPhone. How they make the world seem bright with the lights off? AFs, it might as well stay up. Lies being told like that dinosaur BS. Magnifying glass to the ground if they don't see us. Having the time, roasting your favorite pizza. Bougie ain't an option, it's the wage. Take it to the grave, add moving to the place. You already know when they take the case. Laugh the pain away, it's affirmative murder.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Affirmative Murder, the equal opportunity true crime comedy podcast. I am Alvin Williams, joined as always by my partner in true crime, Francel Evans.
Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Yeah, man, I'm the mailman. Can't you tell, man? Gon' post to it.
What up?
Fran, how are we doing this evening, sir? How are you feeling? Man.
But other than that, I'm still standing, upward. I'm walking. I'm feeling good. And that's about it.
You know something? We are going to breeze ever so gently into the apocalypse. And the last week has shown me that because people just kind of forecasted that like it was, like it was raining outside or something like that. Hey guys, it looks like the Book of Eli outside. So just, wear your mask and have a nice day. And nothing there's fires in Canada and Baltimore and New York. Obviously, New York's getting more of the spotlight, but it's happening in Baltimore as well, where we are.
Yeah.
Has this weird haze over it like it's Blade Runner 2049. And people are just kind of still going to work, still living their life. There's a fire so big and powerful that the smoke from the fire is polluting our air in America.
The bills got to get paid.
That's
I have to go out
That's
and
crazy,
work.
man.
And so what does that say about
Look
me?
at capitalism.
I was thinking, hey, I got to get this money.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that while I was outside working,
Can't breathe.
No, that wasn't my thought. My thought was, am I like this superhuman where I can just, my body is built that I don't have to worry about like terrible air quality where I can breathe, I can still run, my body's still working like a machine that this is not bothering me at all. I don't have people walking around with masks and stuff. I don't need to wear one of those. My lungs are working to full capacity. I'm feeling great. And I'm like, if the world just turned into this big old cloud where people need masks and gas masks, maybe I don't need one. Maybe I can I'm just that special human. You ever thought about that?
No, I can't say that. I can't say my brain went there in the last week or so, man. I don't think that I had that thought once. I don't think that ever. Yeah, I didn't go there about it. You really were sucking your own dick for at work, just like, man, I might have lungs that they never even seen before. Like these are just different lungs. I'm seeing people out here with masks on, and I don't need the mask, so it must be genetic superiority.
Maybe it's just, I think I have this fascination with when I see movies and
X-Men. You saw X-Men, and now you think
X-Men, or maybe like the Last of Us, something like that, where it's like I want to be that person that has
a genetics,
this unique
I
survive.
You want to be the next step in human evolution?
Yeah.
Whereas, I think I might be able to breathe underwater. All of us, I think I might be I'm the first human that can breathe underwater, and the tides are rising. And they're saying the world's going to be underwater in like 10 years, and I'm good.
Or I'm the last hope of, for humanity.
The cure. You're the cure.
They need me.
You want to be the cure.
Yeah, man.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I could be a lab rat, man. That's a tough life. But I respect it. I get it. I get it. It was. I was wondering how we were going to get into talking about the smog or the smoke from Canada, and we did it in a really interesting way. So salute to you, man. Your brain never ceases to amaze me. I don't know how we got to that from the smoke in Canada being here, but we did it, And I'm also interested to hear your thoughts on this. This has been shout out to Sarah Turney and Eric from True Consequences and a lot of other awesome podcasters that are really people whose family has suffered a tragedy, and they've taken that tragedy and decided to take their story into their own hands and tell it. And so I've had a lot of cool conversations and interesting conversations about ethics and true crime. And last week I found out about this new trend on TikTok. I'm hoping it's been handled since, but AI, we've seen a lot of cool stuff from AI. You've talked to me about Chat GPT, right? That's what it's called, friend? Where there's scripts and things. The AI is writing things for people. We've seen a lot of AI photos. I saw there's this thing happening on TikTok that is funny because it seems harmless. They're taking stills from pornography, right? So like taking stills from porno, two people in a porno scene, but just their neck up. So you just see like, you know, a dude and a woman, and then they're able to put like pan out of the like widen the shot and then type in fill in the space around them, and it'll go from like, you know, two people having sex to them doing a salsa dance. Yeah. And then you could be like, I want somebody put a baby in the corner. You can type that in and a baby will pop up. Like AI is going in crazy places. And a new trend that's happening on TikTok in the true crime world is there are people making these AI generated videos where they voice over JonBenet Ramsey telling her own story, Anne Frank telling her own story, you know, and this is a clear example of like, this is over the line. This is sick and disturbing and upsetting and gross. But I need people to understand that we can't just have this reaction when it's the obvious one that's like, no, this is wrong. Like there's no middle ground to this or whatever, because there is a bigger conversation to be had about ethics and how you approach doing content in this space and everything like that. But that's a bigger conversation for another day. How did you feel first of all, have you seen any of these, and how did you feel when you saw it?
I seen the outrage. I saw.
You saw
on Twitter,
first.
I think.
Yeah, you saw that.
I saw
first.
on Twitter, and I said, "What is?" So I went to. They had the TikTok account information on Twitter. I go to TikTok and I go to it. I go. I was surprised it was still up.
For sure.
By the time I saw it, I was like, okay, it may have been taken down by now.
Yeah.
So by the time when I get to it, I see it's still up. The first one I seen, and it's probably the most viewed one, is with the JonBenet Ramsey. Yeah. TikTok. Mm-hmm. So I go, okay. I hesitated to
even watch
it.
Yeah.
So I did.
Same.
I maybe watched like the first couple seconds of it. And
Same.
I go, okay. I thought it was. Now, just to clarify, it's crossing the line. I think, you know, it should be taken down.
For sure.
I thought it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought they created some type of AI created video where like they somehow
show the murder or something.
Not show the murder, but showed her like moving. Like I just thought it was like a.
You thought it was more involved.
I thought it was more involved
than just like it's just a head. The head's moving, the lips are moving.
Yes, they take a still photo, and they just make it into this motion type of where the picture's moving,
and she tells her story.
Right. And the thing about that is that technology I'll say is pretty cool because I've done that before. Because there's apps where you can I've done it with my mom where it's like you put a picture in and you can kind of. It seems like they're moving.
For sure.
It kind of gives you this joyness a little bit of like.
You get to see him again.
Move.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
So I know about that technology, but to do it where some of the information that they're putting in these videos are false. Some of it's not
well researched.
Exactly. And
it's insensitive to the family.
For sure. But to have these young babies kind of talk about the tragedy they endured
it's sick.
For entertainment as like, it was very depressing and gloomy type of feeling that I got.
And it's exploitive. Yes, if that person's account makes any money off of making a person against their will tell their story from the grave. Yeah. It is reminiscent of I've never seen a concert of this. I don't know if it took off the way we thought it was going to take off, but Tupac at Coachella like 10 years ago. Yeah. And then this whole wave of everybody saying, oh, maybe we're going to do a Amy Winehouse virtual hologram concert. Right. Everybody was maybe going to do a hologram concert. And then music artists had to come out and go, hey man, when I die, don't do that shit. That shit's weird and it's exploitive and I don't have any consent in that and I don't want that. And then it never really, I'm sure you could go to Vegas and go to some shitty casino or maybe a good casino and see something like that. But when that Tupac Coachella moment happened, I was like, oh, this is like the future of concerts.
That's what I thought.
I thought that was going to be the stand. Like you could go see anybody. You're going to go see the Beatles. You can go see anybody you want to go see. And I think that the music industry put the kibosh on that. I think they were like, this is sick. And also, I don't think people received it like the masses. I don't think the masses received it like they thought they were. I don't think people were like, this is awesome. I think at the best, people were like, oh, that was kind of cool, I guess. And at the worst, people were like, that was not okay. Like that didn't feel right.
Yeah, I was shocked that it didn't take off, but I still think it will. Sometimes things like that.
With virtual reality, I mean, we're going into a different space for sure.
Yeah, I think if they can find a way to families to benefit from that, I think you can get the consent from families where it's like,
if it feels ethical, if
they're still getting money, I think, hey man, money talks
for sure.
If they can find a way to do that where it's like not exploitive and it's benefiting the families, I think it will. I think that will come back.
But
because go ahead.
No, you finish your point.
Yeah, so I think it will come back, but I do want to mention that AI technology is going to a place that I've never, I heard about it years ago before it became big what it is now. I think that AI is so powerful and it's going to get.
This is infancy.
It's going to get way more powerful than what it is now. Oh, and I think it's going to make us dumber than we have. Generations past us it's like ChatGPT. You can type in something and it will just create. It's no effort and man,
it's making movie scripts. They're not great, but it's the infancy, and you can get a movie script made through ChatGPT. Now at its infancy, and this is probably happening right now. If you're somebody with connections enough in Hollywood, you can get ChatGPT to write up a script for a pilot for a TV show, write up a script for a movie, and then just peer review it.
Yeah,
and fix it up. The parts where they say a weird sentence.
Exactly.
So you've done ChatGPT has done 75% of a pilot for a script for a TV show. You go, I want it to be funny, I want it to be black, I want it to be kind of R-rated, and they'll make something up. And then you read through it and you go, this is an idea that I didn't come up with. I like the concept. Let me clean it up a bit, and now I have a script for a TV show.
Yep.
And this is the infancy, But just to get back on topic, yes, AI is going crazy places. Yeah. But what I was going to jump in and say to you was about the family thing as far as the holograms go, and I guess we can tie it back into this AI true crime thing, which I think is just wrong and shouldn't be done. But the point is, like, it's still exploitive, even if you talk to the family, because the person's dead. They can never give their consent. So like you say, money talks. What if Prince, which we know Prince is a bad example because of course he said this. But let's just, I said it, so let's stick with it, even though we already know it's true. What if Prince said to his next closest sibling, a sister or whatever, hey man, when I die, I don't want my music released. I don't want to be a hologram. I don't want anything. But then they go to Prince's sister and they go, we'll give you $100 million. And she goes, something, he didn't really mean that. Prince, sometimes he would say stuff and he didn't really mean it. So now money does talk, and money can talk enough to make somebody go against somebody's explicit wishes, because you can never get the permission from that person. And money talks, like you said. So you can go, hey man, John Lennon said, I never want my music to be used without my permission or my say or my creative input. I never want that to happen. And then you go to Yoko Ono and you're like, okay, well, how about $50 million? She goes, well, I mean, you can buy a lot of big hats with $50 million. So you can do whatever you want with his likeness because it's mine. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if Yoko Ono's family or her owns his likeness. But for the sake of argument, let's just say one person is in charge of John Lennon's likeness and it's her. And they can go to her with a check big enough to make her change her mind on respecting his wishes. So, but this is also aside from, you should not be taking victims of Charles Manson or victims of Jeffrey Dahmer and having them come back to life and go, I like Jeffrey, but then he betrayed me, and it's weird. And with the music and it's a whole thing, it's wrong and it's insensitive to the families and it's exploitive. And so
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lawsuit or something that's
for sure, because in this specific situation, I think this is like a universal fuck no. I don't know anybody who's defending it. I mean, even if you go, something, I found it kind of educational because I didn't know this part, and it was this interesting way to absorb it because it hit an emotional string. Nobody's saying that publicly. Even if somebody goes, you know something, seeing her move and tell her story affected me in this way that really made it stick to me in a way that it hasn't before. Nobody's saying that in defense of this. Either anybody who's like, I mean, I didn't think it was that bad, is quiet as fuck. And anybody who goes, this was disgusting, like myself and yourself, are pretty loud about it. Like, no, this is fucking wrong. Like, this is not okay. So there's no real middle ground. It's like the no's are really loud and the yeses for it I haven't seen. I haven't seen anybody go, well, you know, I think it's cool. I think it's fine. I don't think it's any problem with it. Like, if you, at the best, you're like, it's a little, but I get it. It was entertaining. You're not saying that out loud.
No.
So this is different than the music thing because you might go, bro, I love Amy Winehouse. I'm an Amy Winehouse super fan. I think she's one of the best artists we've ever seen. I would never put a dime in her father's pocket because he exploited her while she was alive and forced her to do stuff, shows and all kind of stuff while she was clearly in need of help. And in her death, I'm going to go see a concert that he is giving the yes to let happen and he gets money in his pocket. Fuck no. Because I respect the artist that I love that much that I know she wouldn't want that to be the case. I'm being exploited and my father who was using me and taking advantage of me, he's profiting off of it still I still don't get to rest. He still gets to exploit me and take advantage of me from the grave. No. So, but that's just because I happen to know that situation a little more deeply. But for somebody who goes, I don't know, man, I love Biggie Smalls.
I mean, but these artists had such great music. I mean, like, why? I think a medley concert is fine. If you want to do a concert where you want to do a Biggie Smalls concert and Jadakiss comes out and Rick Ross comes out and they rap Biggie Smalls' songs, that's cool. But having a Biggie Smalls with the chains and come out, you know what I mean? I just think I get what you're saying about, people love his music and keep his music alive. But it's just something about having a fake him come out. And also to go back to the Tupac one, they had him like come down from heaven. And then when it was over, he like angel wings and then he turned into glitter. It was just. I thought it was dope, man. I thought it was awesome. They did one for Michael Jackson too, I believe.
They probably did. It was around the
Tupac
around
one was dope. I'm sorry. I can't. If anybody I thought it was awesome, man. I thought.
Oh no. When it happened.
This is going to be the future. I went, oh, this is going to be dope.
For sure.
That's what I thought.
And that's the thing, like at surface value, when you just go, wait, this is a thing? I was like 16 when we were kids when that shit happened. That was like 2009 or something. Of course I thought it was dope. When he's like, what the fuck is up, Coachella? I was like, and then Snoop Dogg came out. The shit was I was like, this shit is crazy. But then when you get older and you start to think about, okay, who got the money for this? Who signed off on this? Would Tupac have won? There's so much footage of Tupac being this, independent person who was very conscious of being taken advantage of by the government and the system and record labels and all this, that, and the third. Would he be okay with you using his likeness to make money that isn't going to him? Who's it going to? Then you got to start asking, like you said, if there's a way that the family's being compensated, I guess I'm more okay with it. But the money's not going to him. Who's given the green light for this to happen?
But if it's not going to him, who would he choose it would be go to? It probably be his kids.
We'll never know. He doesn't have any kids. So you know what I mean?
Something like that.
His mom's not alive, right? So
I get that.
And that's where it gets murky because you go, who's in charge of this train?
When nobody can give the green light, then it wouldn't happen. So that doesn't matter.
But no, that's not true because you can exploit somebody and just say, well, he's not alive. Who's somebody gonna sue us? We're making $100 million a year from the Tupac football stadium hologram show. We're selling 30,000 seats. People are lined up out of the gates. We got Snoop Dogg coming to every concert, special guesting. Who's going to stop this train?
And who would go? Me, because I would go, this is awesome and I want to see it. I know that's fucked up, but I go like, this is dope. I didn't get a chance to see Tupac perform. So I would go, I want to go, man.
I get it. And so there's more of a debate to be had as far as the Tupac hologram situation is than there is about these AI true crime. I think that this should just be nipped in the bud. Nobody wants this. Everybody thinks it's wrong. If there's TikTok accounts doing this, they should be shut down. This is not okay. And when you think about a family coming across it, it makes you sick to think that somebody's playing, like you said you've done it with pictures of your mom. The idea that you would come across that you didn't make it, you would come across somebody exploiting somebody in your family like that passed in a terrible way, murdered, and it's not even like you didn't do it for your own personal. You didn't do it to make yourself feel better. You just come across somebody playing with the likeness of your child who was killed. That's sickening.
Yeah.
So there's no debate in this one, but I just was like, where's the line when people think that this is okay to do? And that is why, sometimes I agree with people where you go, the true crime genre has kind of jumped the shark and it's become more entertainment than victim advocacy. Like, what are we here for? Are we here to disconnect and just tell stories that we think are crazy and make money and tell jokes or sell things or whatever the fuck it is? Or do we really care about the stories that we're telling? Do we want justice to be like that? Needs to be always at the forefront. All right, folks. Well, we had some technical difficulties there. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but something disconnected in the matrix, and we're gonna keep the train going though. That was our conversation on AI and the whole true crime space and ethics and whatnot, as far as entertainment and telling a story about real people is concerned. Hope you got some gems from that. If you didn't, I'm sorry that it got cut off and that we're moving on from it, but it just has to go that way because we're still trying to figure this shit out, okay? But let's pat ourselves on the back before we take a quick break. There's no Patreon shout outs this week, so we can just say join the Patreon. Please feel free. We're now doing video. This is the pat ourselves on the back, friend. We have our first video episode of the podcast. Last week we recorded ourselves for the first time, and it worked. Clearly, we had some technical difficulties just now, but last week, technical difficulties or not, we were able to video record our first podcast. We put it up on our Patreon. It's available. You can see us in all our glory. This shitty lighting is, if you can, now I can tell people. This camera sucks. I'm using the MacBook camera.
Yeah, it's
the lighting is crazy. You move it.
We bought cameras and he doesn't use it.
I'm being stubborn. I don't know why. It's sometimes you sit it on the thing and it looks bulky, but clearly yours is crisp. Looking good. So I need to follow suit so we can give people a better look and it doesn't look like I'm in an insane asylum. But we did it, So a round of applause to us. That's fantastic. We're killing the game, and now we have video content as well. So that's a pat on our back for us. Thank you to me and to you, and for us showing up and wearing a cool drug rug weed sweater, and myself in the finest athletic quarter zip thing right here with a kangaroo pocket. Yeah, I keep snacks in there. But yeah, so you guys can see us now and really vibe with us and see the expressions and reactions and everything like that. But
do you got something coming to the Patreon? I'm not going. We talked about it. I'm not going to bring it up yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to do it yet.
Leave the anticipation.
Yeah. I might leave a little cliffhanger. Get
you're excited. You're excited.
I am excited.
You're excited.
I'm very excited about it, and I just want people to be ready.
Can I tell them one thing?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
This is exclusive Fran-led content. This is Fran Unfettered. This is Fran Unleashed. Yeah. All him.
Yeah.
So be excited. Be prepared for that. You're going to get the full Fran.
Yeah. When I say soon, I mean like the next couple weeks. Soon. It's going to be popping off.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I hope the people are excited. Again, join that Patreon. Get on there. We would love to see you. Hope you enjoy the content. If you're already signed up, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get into some fucked up shit. So stick around. All right, and we are back. Fran, this month, it is June, which means it is Pride Month. And so I wanted to tie some examples of crimes against the LGBTQ community into a conversation about, how the legal system still has disadvantages that are slowly being corrected. Well, there'll always be holes in the legal system, but this is one that I always have found interesting, that it's a tactic that has been used before and successfully in ways, and that's the gay panic defense. And so we're going to talk about the gay panic defense as well as some examples of, crimes against LGBTQ people and community members, and how this tactic, if you will, has been used in the past. So for people who don't know, the gay panic defense or homosexual advanced defense is a strategy of legal defense which refers to a situation in which a heterosexual individual charged with a violent crime against an LGBTQ individual can claim that they lost control and reacted violently because an unwanted sexual advance that was made upon that person. So basically saying, somebody that was gay or lesbian or trans hit on me, and that was an attack on my heterosexuality or my own morals or my character or whatever, and I just lost it. I was so offended at that I acted violently, and I hurt them, in instances killed them, and this is a tactic that has been used in court on several occasions, and sometimes in ways successfully. I wouldn't say I've seen it. I've seen examples where it went not guilty, but we will talk about several examples today where somebody who this is a first degree murder charge was charged with manslaughter and convicted of manslaughter instead when they went to trial. Yeah. So it lowered the penalty, it lowered the punishment. So almost saying a jury understood that, like, oh, hey man, they were gay. Why were they trying to be gay to you?
Which is a win, essentially, really.
Yes, for sure. I mean, yes, if you kill somebody brutally and it's clearly first degree, and you use this tactic to say, I lost my mind, man. I was just so offended that this gay dude, this trans woman, this lesbian woman approached me that I lost my mind. I blacked out. That's a term we hear a lot. I blacked out. I lost my senses for a second. I woke up, snapped to, they were not alive anymore. And sometimes, depending on who the jury is, this has happened before. Yeah. I mean, this has worked before. This has been, somebody has gone, you know something? I get that. So, so in the United States, the LGBTQ plus community makes up about 3.5% of the total population, and yet it is vastly overrepresented in hate crime statistics. In 2007, sexual orientation ranked third highest motivator for a crime that is of the hate crime variety at 17% of the total attacks, behind race, which was at 51%, and behind religion, which was at 18%. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, not, these are all their own communities that come with their own set of, animosity, hatred, bigotry. Yeah. But to be at 17% when you only make up 3.5% of the population is, you're overrepresented by a lot. You make up a big thing.
Yeah, I did see that in since 2013, there has been at least 128 transgender and gender non-conforming people have been killed in the United States.
Yes. So
according to a 2018 report by the Human Rights Campaign Foundation, at least 80% were transgender women of color. Mm-hmm. Nearly 70% were black trans women.
Yes.
Which that statistic is absolutely insane.
For sure.
And I think that's nuts, man. I mean, like, we see that just by the numbers, that it's mostly colored.
Black. Yeah,
right. Trans women,
trans women of color,
yep.
and that. I mean, I've heard this statistic before. I've heard some of the reasoning for it before. I don't think I've ever discussed it with you on the podcast, but we're gonna get into it today because we've found a story that centers around it, which is that a lot of black trans women intersection with sex work.
Yeah,
and we've talked about this so many times. Legalize sex work, legalize people being able to, have a safe place to do this. The oldest profession in America, in the world, is one of the world's oldest professions, right? Because when you put somebody in a difficult situation to where they can't call the police for help, when they can't, they're in bad neighborhoods, they're in precarious situations, they're doing sexual favors in alleys and tucked away and with seedy people because they have to. Then you're putting them at risk and then also demonizing them when something bad happens to them because you just go, oh yeah, well, they were a prostitute. So what else do how do you not expect to get hurt?
Right.
And so a lot of black trans youth turn to sex work because they're kicked out of their house, to provide money for themselves to survive on the streets, to pay for surgeries, aftercare, whatever it may be, hormone therapy. They turn to sex work to provide for themselves because a job won't hire them. Their families turn their backs on them. The shadow that is casted by being trans takes away their ability to provide for themselves in a legal way.
Yeah.
And so now you're a black trans person, or you're a trans person in general, who has a target on their back, who has animosity coming their way because of that. And now on top of that, you're also a sex worker. So you don't have any type of, already the police don't, the wrong police comes. They're like, I don't know, man, this is weird. You're a trans person. I don't, I'm going to throw some anti-trans language your way and be dismissive of your problems. And now also you're a sex worker. So it's like, and I show up and you're doing illegal stuff. Oh yeah, man. Anything that happens to you, that's on you.
Yeah.
So there's no empathetic community outside of your own to turn to, because everybody just goes, yeah, man, hey, man, you're out there selling your body on the streets, bad stuff's going to happen. You're out there being a trans and weird and non-conforming. Hey, man, you're asking to just have problems come your way. So you're double asking for problems.
Right. I think I remember we had a conversation with I think we did a town hall where we had Les come on, our friend Les.
Yes.
Come on, and
Les.
I remember asking him, how does he manage his everyday life being a black African American and being gay, right? Mm-hmm. And with this, doing this story and hear about the two people or people we going to talk about being people of color, being transgender, being a sex worker, all that, you got to walk around and try to, like you said, having a target on your back and deal with that every day. I mean, like, I can't even imagine the difficulty that they have to deal with every day.
Yeah.
And to be on high alert. People want to attack. It's just like, I can't
and you might not even know for what reason.
Don't even know.
You got pimps, you got religious people that hate you for being who you are, and then you got racism.
Yes.
It's like you could get hit with a brick and you don't know why the brick came.
Right. Yep.
It's pick your poison. And one of the things Les said in that, and we've had conversations about it before, but I think it's such a strong point, is like, to anybody that's out there, who thinks that being gay is this choice. Les is always, and Les, I'm so proud of him at how open and prideful he has been about who he is and his expression. And over the last few years, he's become so much more comfortable, and I'm so proud of him for that. But what he said was, you think I would choose to have to walk around and deal with the problems of being black and you think I'm choosing to be, you think I would choose like having to have awkward conversations with my family, some family not wanting to talk to me, people potentially attacking me, not, for holding my hands with the person I love. You think I would choose to like add an extra thing to my life? When I already have something I have to do, I can't take my skin off everywhere I go. I have to be black. You think I'm choosing to be black and gay? That seems kind of like setting myself up for a pretty hard life, right? If it was a choice, I probably wouldn't make that choice. Okay. This is who I am.
Yeah.
And I think that's so powerful because, again, it applies to this. Like, you think I'm choosing to not feel like I'm not in the right body that I'm in and be black in America? You don't think I'm not aware of how hard life is already being a black person in America? You think I'm choosing to be like, let me spice this up a notch.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of, I don't like to, I'm not trans, you're not trans, we can't speak for trans people, but, at the end of the day, my final thought is, I can't tell somebody what their lived experience is.
Right.
And so that it kind of ends there for me. It doesn't go any further. I have no further input. I have no further debate or, anything like that. Cause I go, this person's telling me this is what their lived experience is. And specifically when it comes to black people, I go, we have been through a crazy couple of years, been through a crazy couple of generations in this country. I don't think somebody would choose to make their life more complicated, difficult, dangerous.
No.
Just cause something needs to be worked out within them. Something is not being expressed within them. It's a real thing. And we need to allow people the space to be able to express that. And that's just kind of where it ends for me. But yeah, no, that's a good point you bring up, Fran, with the statistic about that. And that just sheds a little light on that as far as, when we talk about the violence rate and the murder rates of black, we talk about trans people and then the rates of those trans people that are being killed being black women of the trans nature. The representation kind of hits at that point where it intersections with sex work.
Right.
And being on the streets and struggling and, being homeless, kicked out by your family. And now you're left to the elements and you have to provide for yourself. So they're putting themselves in they've been placed in violent situations, through no fault of their own in a lot of cases. I mean, if your family turns your back on you, kicks you out of your house, the only house you got to survive somehow. Crazy. Money talks. So I also I want to state that it has to be said that the gay trans panic defense is not an affirmative legal defense. You know, it is a tactic to strengthen the defense by playing to prejudice, right? So it has, however, been used not only to explain a defendant's actions, but to excuse them as well. So the defense typically has 3 variations, right? It is defense of insanity or diminished capacity.
Okay.
Basically, I lost it. I lost my mind for a second. I was so enraged at this person attacking me with their gayness that I lost my mind, right?
Which is nuts.
Yeah, for sure. But this has worked. You know what I mean? Like, this has worked. There's the defense of provocation. Basically, they kept, they were egging me on. I told them I don't like men, trans people, whatever. I'm a woman and I don't like women. But they kept being like, I could change your life. I could rock your world. They were provoking me. I told them I didn't like that, and they kept egging me on to do something to them by harassing me, basically.
I just want to know, what do you call it? Because by the term,
it's self-defense. It's self-defense. And
yeah,
there's
but
different
it's not
variations.
self-defense, though. That's not self. I look at self-defense. When I think of self-defense, I think of, you're being physically attacked.
Yes.
And you shoot or whatever hurt this person because you are being physically attacked, beating or whatever, and that person end up dying or whatever. That's self-defense.
Sure.
I just don't think it's the same. That's why I want to know what
the
wording of what is it for you to go like, okay, this person was hitting on me, I felt uncomfortable, and I just blacked out.
In the cases where people have killed somebody, the person has turned out to be gay, it seems like a hate crime, and they're trying to make it not seem that way by saying, I'm the victim here. These are 3 of the defenses that they've used, which is diminished capacity, like I lost it. I was provoked into this. They just kept being gay. And to me, they kept being gay to me. And self-defense. They attacked me with their gayness. It was they tried to thrust their gayness upon me in some kind of gay attack. And so I had no choice but to defend myself. Those are the 3 ways that it's happened when it's gone to trial for a murder, and assault, or whatever. Now, whether or not it works is a different conversation, but these self-defense, provocation, and diminished capacity can be used by anybody. But when you try to say, "Hey, man, this person's gayness is the reason that I did I had to use one of these 3 examples," that is where states have stepped in and said, "You're not allowed to do that," because statistically, gay people are more risk of hate crimes and attacks than being the. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by HelloFresh. Flavor is in full bloom at HelloFresh. Enjoy the taste of spring with chef-crafted recipes featuring ripe, seasonal ingredients delivered right to your door. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to you, so you can skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. HelloFresh cares about quality. That's why their seasonal ingredients are picked at peak ripeness and travel from the farm to your home in less than 7 days, so you know they're fresh. And I have to say, I've been doing a lot of home renovations lately, on top of work and the podcast. So there's nothing better than coming home after a long day, getting some projects done, and just knowing that you have fresh vegetables, quality produce, and instructions to whip up a meal, easy enough for a 6-year-old to read. HelloFresh is forever coming in clutch in this house. And if you go to HelloFresh.com/AMP16 right now and use the promo code AMP16, you will get 16 free meals plus free shipping. Again, that's HelloFresh.com/AMP16. Use the promo code AMP16 for 16 free meals plus shipping. That is also free. Make your summer dinners a breeze with HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by ZocDoc. You're extremely unlikely to find quality medical advice in your group chat or any random TikTok rabbit hole you happen to stumble down. But you can find it from a doctor on ZocDoc. ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun. That's right, folks, you heard me. No more doctor roulette or scouring the internet for questionable reviews. With ZocDoc, you have a trusted guide to connect you to your favorite doctor you haven't met yet. Just go to ZocDoc.com/AMP and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/AMP. Put that all together, that's ZocDoc.com/AMP. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by Drizzly. Getting ready to celebrate Juneteenth? If so, discover some amazing black-owned brands to enjoy all weekend long. From premium small batch whiskey to sparkling wine and everything in between. Drizzly has a selection of the absolute best black-owned beer, wines, and spirits in the business. And you can get them delivered to your front door or wherever you're celebrating with Drizzly, the go-to app for alcohol delivery. Can't be with your favorites to raise a glass on June 19th? Well, you can still gift family and friends their favorites to enjoy from wherever they happen to be. All you have to do is download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com, that's Drizzly, DRIZLY.com, and choose the drinks you think they'll love the most. Cheers to a happy Juneteenth. Who just rang the doorbell? It's Drizzly here to turn up the party. Must be 21 and up and not available in all locations. Once again, that's Drizzly, the go-to app for alcohol delivery. The cause of these attacks.
Right.
So to be able to kill somebody and then say it was their fault because they're gay, they're attacking me with their gayness is wrong. And we don't think that a defense attorney should be able to try to demonize a person because of their sexual orientation.
Right. Yeah.
And try to get their client off.
I agree with that.
So anyway, for example, William T. Simpson was a gay man who was shot and killed in North Miami, Florida in 1954. The defendant claimed that they shot Simpson, who was a gay man, like I said, while resisting his advances, thus utilizing the provocation defense. So this guy kept hitting on me. I didn't want that. I was afraid of what could happen. I shot him. Even though the defendants were criminals who frequented the area of highways to rob drivers and intentionally targeted homosexual victims, the defendants were convicted of manslaughter rather than first-degree murder. So again, in this situation, these people were known robbers who targeted gay people, and then when something went, we don't know what happened, but something went wrong, and now this man who's a gay man was shot and killed. And somebody who has a history of robbery and is known that this is his tactic to go to places where gay people hang out and rob them, when he shot and killed one of them, he said, no, I wasn't robbing anybody. I was just living my life, and this gay guy came up to me and was hitting on me, and I felt like, he was crossing the line and making me uncomfortable, and so I shot him. Yeah. And now, did he get to walk out of jail and go home? No, but instead of getting a first-degree murder charge, he got manslaughter. It changes the verbiage, and it changes what happened when you go from a first-degree murder, which is like in cold blood, intentional, malice, to, it was an accident. We got into a scuffle and things went south and he's dead. It's like it excuses your actions because, he was gay, man. Hey, gay people are ill. They're gross, man. Yeah, man, you shot him, but it's fine. Like, it was an accident. He shouldn't have been trying to be gay to you. That's what that says.
I think it's so fucked up that you can use that as a defense. For sure. And then the person, the victim that's not alive anymore, it's kind of like they're throwing dirt on this person's name and this person's character to get off on whatever their homophobia or whatever it is that they deal with. I just think that's just fucked up.
That's literally exactly what happens in most of these cases when this defense is tried to be used. It's like, I'm basically saying, hey man, this person is so abhorrent and sinful in their gayness that they're like they're going around thrusting it on people, and I just couldn't take that anymore, and I defended myself. He was making me uncomfortable, she was making me uncomfortable, they were making me uncomfortable, and so I had to do something to defend my heterosexual, my cisgendered energy. I needed to get that shit away from me. And then there are juries who go, all right, well, you can't go around shooting people, but like, I get what you're saying, because like, that's mad gay. So, I mean, manslaughter. And then if you're a defense attorney, you go, shit, I mean, you fucking shot the shit out of that person. Yeah. You are a cold-blooded murderer, sure. But you're gonna be home in 12 years. Like, you're gonna be home in 12 years. So This is a win. This is a win. We won. So this is a history of this happening. Things have gotten better and they continue to get better. There's a lot of steps to go, but we'll get into it and we'll continue. So famously, Fran, This case has been talked about a lot. I feel like I heard this on My Favorite Murder. I feel like I've heard this around on multiple places because it's a popular story and it was a popular show. So famously, the 1998 murder of Scott Amador by Jonathan Schmitz took place after an episode of the Jenny Jones Show, right? So after appearing on the episode, I don't know if you remember Jenny Jones. I used to watch a lot of daytime television, friend. Ricky Lake,
Remember Jenny
Jenny
Craig?
Jones.
What was that?
Yeah, so yeah. You heard of Jenny Craig. No, but
What am I missing? Is that the same person?
What?
What am I missing here?
No, Jenny Jones.
It was a talk show, right?
Yeah, Jenny Craig is a dietary supplement. It's like milkshakes.
No,
Jenny
wait.
Craig is like a fat loss. It's like a fat loss program. Like, the fuck are you talking? Man, no, Jenny Craig is like a diet. You go to lose weight.
Hey man, Jenny, I just thought it was. I thought
Jenny. I heard of Jennifer Lopez.
I thought it was. I thought it was some type of core. I thought it connected.
You thought they were like the same person?
Yeah, I thought she just had
Because they both were named Jenny?
She was going on different business ventures. I thought she was just on
Right.
thing.
Oh, just Jenny.
That's what
Jenny.
happened.
Got it. So is there anything with Jenny before it is Jenny ice cream?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah. Got it. No. Jenny Jones was a daytime television show, talk show. It was like Maury Povich, Ricky Lake, Jenny Jones,
Remember
Oprah.
Remember Ricky Lake?
Ricky Lake, love Ricky Lake.
Yes.
But Jenny Jones she would send kids to boot camp. And Ricky Lake and her would both Jenny Jones did secret lovers, like secret crushes. And there's been a lot of these episodes where they bring people out, sit them on a stool, and then somebody would read a note. Hey, I've had a crush on you since we were in middle school. You never noticed me because I had glasses and I sat at the back of the classroom. But now, even though you'd never give me a shot in high school, now I'm sexy and I want to see if you'd give me a chance. And then the girl comes out and she's wearing a bombshell dress. It's like a platinum dress or whatever. It's mini dress. It's dressed like Kelly Bundy. And then the guy's like, oh, Wonka. Eyes come out of it. He's like, man, I messed up when I was the captain of the football team and you were just the girl in art class. But now I work at a used car dealership and you're a supermodel. Would you please give me a chance? And then sometimes the girl will go like, no, in your dreams. Now I'm sexy and you could never have this. And sometimes they have a love connection, right? Well, they had an episode like that. And what happened was, so they bring Jonathan Schmitz out and do that whole thing. Read the note, whatever. And Scott Amador comes out. And Jonathan Schmitz didn't know he's not a gay man. Ooh. So Scott, and also because this is going to be a conversation that I hope doesn't come across the wrong way, but we're going to have it. So Scott Amador comes out and is like, hey, I had the crush on you in high school. And Jonathan Schmitz is he plays it. He's pretty cool about it. Mm-hmm. Like he doesn't freak out. He doesn't say anything homophobic. I don't remember him saying, but he kind of seemed like weirded out, but not being mean, but being like, I'm not gay. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And then after that, apparently Scott left him some kind of note, whether the note was nice or something, I don't really remember, but they go back home because they're from the same town. Mm-hmm. They go back home and some time passed. In my mind, what happened was it's 1997, 98. This guy goes back home after being on television and being hit on by a man. In the 30 years ago, homophobic as fuck. Everything's different. Went home, probably got called all kind of F words and gay words by his coworkers, people around town. Yeah. They're like, man, we saw you on there, man. That dude tried to come. Are you gay? Oh, I did see you guys used to eat at the same lunch table in high school. Were you guys fucking in school? But he dealt with all of that, right? In a world that's incredibly homophobic, a different time, right? And he said that he snapped. He snapped and he killed Scott Amador. He killed Scott Amador. He shot him and killed him. And again, in this case, like I said, the legal system, his defense utilized the provocation defense, saying that, the nature of the note that he left and him being on the Jenny Jones show, basically Amador's homosexuality was too much and it sent Schmitz into this blackout state. He lost his mind and he killed this man. Nah. And Schmitz was convicted of a lesser offense of second-degree murder rather than first-degree murder. And I think that he was able to use that because it was a different time. And a jury, if I'm on a jury, you're on a jury in 1997, we're two different people, we're heterosexual men, and we go, man, if somebody brought me on TV and was like, called me gay and on national television and I had to go back to my town and then everybody's calling me gay, I'd lose my mind too. You could find enough people on a jury to sympathize with that story enough to go, I mean, you can't kill people, but like, I get why you lost your mind, man. He's going around telling people you're gay, or people are going around calling you gay and you lost your shit, you know? And I think that if that happened in 2023, that person plays that cool and goes, because it's a different time. Yes. We live in a better time. Yes. It's still crazy shit, but we live in a better time where somebody could go on that show, whatever the Jenny Jones of today is, somebody from their high school comes out and was like, oh, I'm gay and I had a crush on you. And you go, oh man, that's so nice, man. I'm not gay, but thank you. That person is going to go viral, have all kind of opportunities come to them because they go, that was really nice, man. You took that cool. You were real chill about that. You weren't weird and homophobic. You just were like, hey man, thank you. I'm flattered, but I'm not gay. But like, you know, you want to go get a drink after this? Like we can hang out. We can be friends. Like I'm just not gay.
Yeah.
That could go a whole different way today because the world is more accepting of everything. But in 1997, you just got seen on television being hit on by a dude, and now you got to go back to your little town, and everybody's calling you, all kind of whispering about you when you come into the, you know, Piggly Wiggly or whatever the fuck, and that could drive you crazy in the context of a sick and terrible world.
Yeah.
Again,
it's kind of, I think it's a form of bullying. You know, him having to go home and deal with that. Now, was the way he reacted right? Absolutely not.
Oh, absolutely not. And also, Scott Amador did nothing wrong. This is the format of the show. Yeah. This is the way they wanted to go. They knew it was going to be salacious.
Yeah.
So they kind of took advantage of Scott as well, but I don't think they saw it going this way. Yeah. But they definitely were like, it's going to be crazy. Like, you're gay. We don't think he's gay, but it'll be like funny. Yeah. That was the whole angle. Yeah. Like, this will be funny and wild because gay stuff's weird and funny. That's how they played it, and they got somebody killed.
Yeah,
So Scott Amador, he didn't do anything wrong either, just to be clear.
No, I just think the nature of the note, that was bullshit. Him getting bullied from his friends and him feeling less of a man or whatever, you know, whatever. During that time, he was like, no, fuck this. I got to do something about it.
I got to get my manhood back.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. This person embarrassed me. They wronged me. They made me out to be this. And the only way for me to repair this is to kill them. And that's crazy. Yes, but it wasn't crazy enough for people to not understand in 1998 and go, well, he did put him on TV and call him gay. So let's bump it down to second degree murder. Cause like, I kind of get, if somebody did that to me, I'd be mad too.
How do you call him gay though?
He didn't, but I'm just saying that's the world it was. Like, he didn't call him gay. He just said like, I think you're cute.
Yeah.
You know, I told a story, man. Listen, I had my own, and it wasn't homophobic. It just was the way I did it was clown and corny. It'll never happen again. I told a story. I was in Paris. I had on some Euro shit. You know, I was doing some Euro. I had the sleeveless shirt on. Mm-hmm. I had the rock star belt buckle out. You know, I had some Euro cut jeans with some boots on, and I was feeling myself. I was walking the streets of Paris. I felt like I was looking handsome.
Yeah,
that's why I put the shit on, right? Boom, we go to eat dinner, me, Les, and two of our friends that were on the trip on, and a European gentleman approached me, 50 plus, and came to me, excuse me, I just wanted to let you know that I love your look. I went, man, thanks, man, I'm not gay. And which is like, why did I need to even, you know, it's like I felt the need to qualify. Yeah. I was like, but that's internalized homophobia. I'm going, oh, you're hitting on me. Like, no, he just was, you put the shit on
for compliments.
Feeling like you felt like you looked nice when you put. That's why I put the shit on.
You wanted compliments from a woman.
I wanted compliments from a woman. That's internalized homophobia. Yeah. So this guy came up to me and he was like, "Oh, I'm not gay either. I just was letting you know."
Yeah.
Not only that, before I even got to that part, I went and because I wanted to be like, but I'm not homophobic. So this is how in my head I was. Hey man, I like your outfit. Oh man, thanks. I'm not gay, but my friend is gay and it's his birthday. Do you know any clubs around? I asked him a whole thing. Do you know any gay clubs around here where my homie can, you know, get his fill? Yeah. I said all that off of I like your outfit.
Yeah.
That's how like I didn't think I was uncomfortable, but clearly I was uncomfortable because I did all that to qualify to be like, hey man, thank you for the compliment, but I'm not gay. But I do like gay people though, because my friend is gay. And I like you. Maybe you could tell us a place where we could go that has gay people there and we could all have a good time where my gay friend can have fun, and I'm not gay, but you're gay, and that's cool. I said all that off of I like your outfit.
Yeah, I like your washed jeans and your run over boots, but you know, you're an asshole. You're an asshole.
Yeah, he was like, you know, so he was like,
and
so basically, yeah, he didn't backpedal. He said, again, I like your outfit. Have a nice day.
Nah,
I just
fuck
made
that.
it super weird.
I'm like, I'll take my comment back.
He pulls it back. Like, you know what? Yep. I'm sorry, but you I'm send me number show, and he just walks away. He just
turn to Missy Elliott.
Yeah, he puts the thing down, flips it, reverses his compliment, and then just walks away from the conversation, which is completely justified because he just said he liked my outfit.
That is it.
Sometimes it's internalized. You don't even know. You're not faced with it. You don't come across it, and when you are faced with it, your reaction says a lot about who you are. And I'm still to this day, I'm like kind of. It wasn't a big deal, but it was like I was ashamed. I was like, why did I do that? It was like completely involuntary. It just spilled it like word salad. It just fell out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Man, thanks, man. I'm not gay, but that's cool to, you know, but do you know any gay stuff that's going on around here that I can take my friend to? Because it's his birthday. Why did I tell him it's my friend's birthday? It's his birthday. He wants to do some gay stuff, probably.
Didn't even, like, you did that unconsciously. Like, you didn't even.
Bro, I just was like, I need to say whatever I need to say to go, hey, thank you. Yeah. Love gay people. I'm not gay, but clearly I love gay people because I'm sitting at a table with a gay person. And thank you for the compliment again. Would you like to talk about some gay stuff? I said all that. I tried to make him comfortable and make myself clear that I'm not gay. It was a crazy thing to do.
Yeah.
And that's all internalized homophobia, you know? So again, rest in peace to Scott Amador. This guy died because the TV show wanted to be salacious and scandalous and do something silly and wacky and quirky and taboo. And they ended up fucking with this guy, Jonathan Schmitz's life, because he wasn't asking for this. He was just at home, you know, and got a message saying he might have been a single guy. Who knows his life? He might have been a single guy, lonely. And then somebody's like, hey, would you like to come on a show? Somebody from your past has a crush on you and would love to confess it to you. He's probably thinking about the captain of the cheerleading team or a girl he dated.
Whatever happened, that didn't run through his mind.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So he came there thinking, who knows? Maybe I'll have a love connection. Yeah. And you know that the producers of this show weren't like, do you think, what are the odds that you think the producers of this show were going, well, maybe he'll come in to the show, Scott will come out and say his confession, and then he'll say on national television in 1998, hey man, I'm gay too. I just haven't told anybody. You think he was going to come out on the Jenny Jones show? No, they knew it was going to be like, oh, I'm not gay, or he was going to freak out and there was going to be a fight. That's what they wanted to happen. It just happens that somebody was killed. They got the emotions that they wanted. They just didn't get it on the show. And that guy went home and stewed on that.
It could have been both.
And
it could have been both. I wouldn't put it past the producers to be like,
oh, that would be cool too if he came out on that's good television too.
I'm sure they asked him before the show aired, you know, sometimes are you gay? And they got
sure.
Like, oh, okay, we know this is the content we want to put out. This is kind of how we want
to
for
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. They were like, so who do you think it's gonna be? He's like, I don't know, blonde with big boobs. I don't think when he said his description of what he wanted, who he wanted the person to look like, I don't think they thought he could be talking about a guy. If they asked those questions, right. I'm saying. I don't know for sure. But if they did ask, like, do you have any thoughts of who it could be? I'm sure he was probably like, well, you know, Brittany this or Stacy that. And they were like, oh, shit, well, he's going to be in for a surprise. When Scott comes out, this is going to be great television. Yeah. And that's all it was producer brain in their mind. They're like, this is going to be so, drama, conflict. And, a person was killed. So like I said, that case ended in Schmitz being convicted of second-degree murder. So, you know, in that case, he was able to plead. His defense was able to plead the case that he was provoked by Scott Amador. He was provoked by him, and he had no choice He had no choice in the fact that he blacked out or lost his mind, temporary insanity, and he killed him.
Yeah.
So he was provoked into insanity. So, like we talked about at the beginning, Fran, about the intersectionality of trans women and sex work. A lot of trans women turn to sex work for a multitude of reasons, which we addressed some earlier, and that only adds to the legal system dismissing violence brought upon their community. And this is where we get into the two cases that this whole thing started with telling one story, and it kind of blew up into a whole thing that felt necessary to talk about. Yeah. So it started with Ashanti Carmen, who was about 16 years old when she first started walking the streets of Washington, D.C. to earn money after her family rejected her identity as a trans woman, making her homeless and desperate.
16 years old. That's still a baby.
Oh, man. And I think about if my mom, when I was 16 years old, if my mom was just like, hey, man.
Get out?
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell am I going to go? What?
And you're out, get out and don't ever talk to me again. Like, that's like, not just that, not just like, hey, you got to fend for yourself. I can't keep, which is already crazy, but like angrily, like, get out. You're on your own and don't ever talk to me again. I don't agree with your lifestyle. You eat too many Rice Krispie treats. You sleep until noon. Like, this is unacceptable. Like,
you're a dirtbag. You need to get him out.
You're a dirtbag. Like, you're an absolute dirtbag. Like, you're always in here watching Dude, Where's My Car? It's not a good movie. Like, I don't agree with your lifestyle. You need to get out of my house, and I don't want to know you anymore. That's I couldn't imagine my mom doing that to me at 16 years old, or at any point in my life, right? So that you already got to deal with you just lost your family, and you're homeless. You have nothing, and so Ashanti was like, I got to get out. I got to get it how I can, right? So over the following 10 years of her life, Ashanti vacillated between couch surfing and staying at budget motels, like pay by the day motels and stuff like that for 10 years. That was kind of her lifestyle. But after finding support from a community of other transgendered women in Washington, D.C., she was able to pick her life up a little bit. She fell in love. She moved in with her boyfriend and sought after jobs in fast food restaurants. She started relying less and less on sex work, but it still was good money, even though it is a dangerous lifestyle.
Yeah,
it's a dangerous lifestyle, but it was good money, right? So she was trying to turn her life around. We've heard this story thousands of times. This is when life comes at you the worst ways is when you almost feel like you're about to turn that corner. So on March 30th, 2019, at around 6:20 a.m., reports of gunfire were called into the PG County Police Department coming from Joss Street, which was a street just off Eastern Avenue, which is a popular strip for sex workers and a gathering place for transgender women. This strip also straddles the border between northern Washington and Maryland. It runs all the way down to Baltimore, as a matter of fact. I mean,
it's crazy.
There are parts of Eastern Avenue in Baltimore that are crazy and wild, but it's a long strip. So Ashanti, who was only 27 years old at the time, still a baby, you're an adult, but still young, a lot of life to live. Ashanti had been shot multiple times and was pronounced dead at the scene. She and her friend, Zoe Spears, who was 23 at the time, also a baby, were working Eastern Avenue together, and they had arranged for a date that would pay them $800 each. Wow. Which is, for a one night of work, that's a lot of money. You can't turn something like that down. But toward the end, Carmen was anxious and ready to leave. She was stressed out. You could it was visible on her face. This is what Zoe Spears said. You could just tell, like, she was ready to get the fuck out of there. She asked their date to hurry up and quit the chit chat so everyone could get on their way. Let's get down to business. Let's get this done.
Let's get it go so I can go. I can get out of here.
Enough is like, man, you look like Kelly Rowland. Man, let's get it done and get the fuck out of here. I don't have time for this, right? So finally, the date peeled off in a blue car, but another man in a white car pulled up after that and pulled up to the two women who were just blocks from Zoe Spears' apartment. This man was angry. This is according to Spears, who was a witness. And he said, "Bitch, I thought I told you weren't leaving out of this." So, we can all make guesses about who this person probably was. Some kind of pimp figure.
That's what I was about to say.
Ashanti was talking about leaving the industry. She found love. Life was going a different direction. And now you got this pimp rolling up on you, but they don't want to lose the income that you bring them.
I was about to ask, now, do you think obviously we don't know anything about what pimps do and how that whole thing works, but I mean, like,
for sure,
do you think like this was like his number one? This is the person that makes the most money.
She's been on the track since she was 16. I mean, she's been out there for a long time. I mean, she knows the game, so possibly. I tell you like this, I feel like in that world, that underworld, dark world where you're able to have a pimp figure exist and take advantage of people and exploit people, take their money, hold on to their money. Any dollar they get, they feel entitled to. It's valuable. They don't want to lose it. They're spending money that they don't have yet. So, if she went and made $800 that night and that guy's expecting 500 out of the 800. Yeah, you know, and also you're able to do stuff like get $800 in a night, and you're talking about hanging it up. It's like, no. You're able to give me $500 a night. You're not quitting.
Yeah, I just couldn't imagine, you know, the feeling that she had as far as being what's the word? The anxiety of like, I wanna get out of this. But somebody, I got this person behind me that's threatening me, and you know, just some stories and TV shows and movies. They make it seem like pimps are just smacking people around and violently hurting people. It's like, I couldn't imagine her going through that every night. Where it's like, I don't want to do this anymore, but I can't. It's not that easy.
I'm in debt. I'm indebted in some weird way to this person.
Exactly.
Imagine if you just were like, hey man, I'm done at the post office. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. But there's this Debo ass dude that works here, and every time I mention like, I found a new job, I'm thinking of hanging it up. He's like, well, if you leave, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. It's like, I just, like, imagine there being a barrier to you quitting a job. Like, you can't just leave the job.
Exactly. I hate. I don't want to do anymore.
Yeah, it's like if there's a fear of like violence or your life could be at risk for quitting. You don't want to do it. You found love. You're looking for jobs like a 9 to 5. Yes. You don't want to be in this industry anymore. I want to go legit. But I'm afraid to do that, not because I'm afraid of like the universal afraid or the spiritual afraid. Like, I'm afraid, what if I fail? Yeah. Not that. I'm just afraid to take that next step. I'm literally physically afraid that somebody will hurt me if I quit. Right. That's insane. But like I said, Ashanti Carmen, this person pulls up on them, and Carmen told that man in that white van that she wanted out. She was engaged to her boyfriend, who loved her. His name was Philip Williams, and referred to herself as Mrs. Ashanti Williams on Facebook. So she started already taking his name, and she was looking forward to the future.
It was like a new beginning.
Exactly, but she still had one foot in and one foot out, right? And she had at least one other job at a local Dunkin' Donuts. And even though sex work was lucrative, it came with far less stress, to say the least. I mean, you don't have people pulling up on you in cars threatening you, right? So, well, I guess at Dunkin' Donuts you might.
Yeah.
We're like, I said, I wanted a apple fritter, you bitch, and they throw it in the window. I've never done that, but sometimes you get the donuts wrong. So, there are even words from friends there that she was on the verge of becoming a manager at the Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay.
So she's finding success in her life.
Yeah.
So the man asked Carmen whether she was sure she wanted to take this route. This is according to Zoe Spears. But Carmen held her ground and was like, hey man, listen, I'm out. Yeah. I'm leaving this, and I'm getting out of this shit. The guy pulls a gun on her and shoots her 3 times where she stood. When she collapsed to the ground, he then fired an extra 2 shots, executing her. Yes. Zoe Spears didn't reveal this crucial information to police until May of that year, which was almost 3 years later. So this happened in March of 2019, and not until May of 2019 did Zoe Spears come forward and say, like, I was a witness, I was right there when this happened, right? So Zoe, but better late than never, right? So the case was like put on ice for 3 months. They didn't have any leads, and then Zoe Spears comes forward and says, there was a man in a white van, gave a description of what he was wearing, and then the case starts to take some steps. Now they start to be able to look for a suspect.
Zoe had to play it smart. She had to
protect herself as well.
We're going to get to her story, and they was best friends, and I think by her waiting and being scared, I got to protect myself.
Yeah.
Because if they find us, like,
if they found out I snitched, I was right there. So if somebody gets arrested, they know I was right there when it happened. They know it was me. Right. So, but even, hey, unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. Tragically, not a month later from her coming forward to the police, on June 13, 2019, Zoe Spears will be discovered shot to death in Fairmount Heights in D.C. The only lead detectives had was grainy security cam footage of a van that pulled up. They had a conversation in the footage, and then there was a muzzle flash, and then she drops to the floor, and then the van drives off. They asked motor vehicle divisions in the DMV area, which is the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. We've talked about that before. If people don't know, we're not talking about the Department of Motor Vehicles. We're saying it's like the area, the 3 states. Well, D.C. is not a state. Whatever. We'll move on. So they asked the DMV area motor vehicle divisions for all the records that they had on Dodge Caravans, because one of the police detectives was able to identify, because he owned a Dodge Caravan. He was like, that's a Dodge Caravan in that security footage. So they pulled up, they asked for all the information they had on Dodge Caravans. They got 50,000 results. They called Dodge dealerships and learned that the van was a distinct model with a unique silver color. So then they go back to the DMV registry and they're like, how many of the Dodges are silver? That search narrowed it to 3,000.
Yeah. What is the positive lead that for you to shrinking down from 50 results?
Oh, from 50,000 to 3,000? For sure.
Going in the right direction.
And because it was a unique silver, they were able to accompany that with the license plate. They were able to get a license plate scan. Mm-hmm. So the license plate scan, along with the color, they were able to get one match. And so they got a hit on the van, and they found footage of the van being in the area the night of the shooting.
Now,
so
I did want to ask you, as far as them being able to get a match on that license plate, they use the what they call the automatic license plate readers, which is ALPRs that we see a lot on cars, on mostly cop cars. I think it's like also like undercover cars have them as well. I always thought that those things were to flag license plates if somebody's driving with a suspended license. That's what I thought they were used for.
Sure.
But I think they are used for that, but I thought that was just the sole purpose of but they're also used to compare plate numbers against those of stolen cars and people who committed in criminal activity. I didn't know those things went that deep. I just thought they was like just some extra shit to try to get people tickets.
Well, it can be used for petty things like that for sure,
right,
but in this case, it was used for a bigger purpose. I mean, either way, they're getting their license plate scanned. It serves a ton of purposes, man. In this case, it was able to track down the guy who shot Zoe Spears in cold blood. After about 5 weeks of searching, the PG County Police Department was able to announce that they had arrested the man behind the wheel of the Dodge Caravan the night of Zoe Spears' shooting, the van that was caught on camera. So they arrested Gerardo Thomas, who was 34 years old. He was charged with first-degree murder in connection with Spears' death. At the time of his arrest, police said that Thomas allegedly shot Spears while he was sitting in a rented vehicle parked on a street in Fairmount Heights, Maryland. So I think I got distracted and I didn't mention the fact that the Dodge Caravan that was in the footage, he rented that car that night, right? Which is and this man lives in Baltimore. So he rented the Dodge Caravan in Baltimore and then drove up to D.C.
In his own name and everything.
In his own name and everything, rented the van, drove up to D.C. that night. So he rented the van to go drive to a known area where sex workers are.
Man, that's some real shady. That's some like.
It's very shady, but
shady
also when you, for us to say that as, you know, at home, couch detect, whatever we want to call ourselves, when you hear what the police announced throughout this whole process, it makes you go like, huh? Because that feels weird to me. And I know I'm not a detective. I don't do your job, but like that feels weird. But anyway, but just keep that in mind, what I just said. So shortly after Spears approached the car and spoke with the man through the front seat passenger side window, she was shot with a shotgun and left to die. Police said that they had no evidence to link Carmen's murder to Thomas. So they're saying Gerardo Thomas, we can't say that Gerardo Thomas is responsible for killing Ashanti Carmen. But they aren't, I don't understand, because I did a ton of research, and I'll get into the stuff that I wasn't able to find. But like, they're saying that, but they're not saying we're not able to link the fact that Zoe Spears is next to Ashanti Carmen when she shot, and maybe Gerardo Thomas knows the gentleman who shot Ashanti Carmen, and this is some kind of high, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just is like, to just say all of this, they're basically the police department saying all of this is coincidence.
Yeah,
like Zoe Spears is also a sex worker, and so she lives a dangerous life, and so she ended up being a victim of the life as well.
Yeah,
and it's just a coincidence that she just came forward and started giving information on the fact that she was right next to somebody when they got murdered.
I find it hard to believe that, you know, both of these transgender women were shot and murdered between a 3-month period that this happened,
and knew each other.
in the same city, like a mile. I think Zoe died like maybe like a mile and a half or like 3 miles, something like that, where Carmen was shot and killed.
It's the same sex worker area. It's the same area where they.
I find it hard to believe that it's a quote unquote coincidence that they just happen to they both do sex work and it's dangerous, and they both
did sex work together, and Zoe Spears was next to Ashanti Carmen when she was
and
killed.
They both was killed. And Carmen, hers was unsolved.
And Zoe Spears just started coming forward and giving information to the police. You know what I'm saying? It's just like to just go, oh, I get what you're saying, but that's such a coincidence.
To be like, oh, it's just, yeah, man, that doesn't even make any sense. For somebody to come out and like,
it's like I hear what you're saying, and it's like
all random.
Imagine like somebody going like, I hear what you're saying, and like that does sound crazy, but like no, it's just a coincidence.
This is a random attack. This isolated attack that had nothing to do with. Come on now, I'm not buying that.
So so like I said, according to her friend, Spears would tell them that she feared returning to her home along Eastern Avenue at the District Maryland line, which is the DC Maryland line, because she witnessed her friend Carmen being killed in that area. So by Zoe Spears' own admission, she felt like because she witnessed that murder, she didn't feel safe. Yeah. And then she still swallowed that fear because her friend's murder was unsolved and started to come forward about it. And once she did, a month later, she was dead. So Ashanti Carmen's case remains unsolved to this day.
Both of them.
And Gerardo remain unsolved. Both of them. But Gerardo Thomas is in custody. He's been held without bond since his arrest. His trial was of murder in the case of Zoe Spears was set to begin in 2020, but was postponed due to the pandemic. And I've been unable to find any updates on this trial. Like I looked, it's 2023. Yeah. I don't know if the trial is still postponed. I don't know if it went to trial. I don't know what happened. I have not been able to find anything. So if anybody has any updates, maybe you can enter databases that we don't have access to. I don't know, but like a cursory Google search, a deep Google search. I'm talking page 10, page 11. I went pretty deep. I was not able to find any like the trial for Gerardo Thomas began today on April 2022. Nothing. Like it's still there's no updates.
You get bond for murder.
Do you
get bond for murder? For murder case?
No, I mean, I'm maybe you can, but it doesn't happen very often. You usually don't get bond for capital murder charges. Gotcha. Yeah, maybe maybe like a manslaughter, maybe something like that. Maybe you could get bond, but not for like first degree homicide. Like capital murder. I don't think you're getting a bond. So yeah, man, that was the story of Zoe Spears, Ashanti Carmen, and the gay panic defense and how it's been used throughout time. I had a list here. I don't know if I still have it pulled up, but it was a list of. I'm gonna pull it up right now, actually. So there's a list of states that basically. So there are states that have put into legislation bans on this tactic. Because, like I said, there's not an official law or anything that says, "Oh, they were being gay to me, so I defended myself from their gayness." But you can use different type of literature, different types of wording to convince a jury that it's okay that it was self-defense for those reasons. There are states that put into legislation like, no, you cannot demonize a person based on their sexual orientation in order to get somebody off or get your client off on charges. Yeah. So it dies on the floor in Senate every time. Every time it's federal, when it's tried to be, because federal consists of the entire country. It dies on the floor. Every time they try to get a federal law passed to make it like this is not a tactic that can be used at all, it dies. But since 2013 started in California, there have been states that have gone, you can't do this. Maryland's one of those states, and you can kind of guess what states are still allowed to do it. Some of them maybe not surprise you, but they also wouldn't surprise you if I read it, which would be like Georgia. You can still like, hey man, he was gay, so I lost my mind. You can still do it in Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida,
South,
Iowa.
A lot of South going on.
Yep, Iowa, Midwest, but still like kind of rural, conservative. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nebraska, Arkansas, North Carolina. So those are the only states that are still, you can still get away with, not
you can use it.
hurting a person.
You can still use it.
You can still say this person provoked me by being gay and coming on to me, or I lost my mind. You can still try to use the fact that somebody's gay as like defense for your violence against them. So it's just something to think about.
I found something where in the Washington Post it mentioned that in 2011, just blocks from the site of Carmen's death, that there was a 23-year-old transgender woman named Lachey McLean who was also shot to death. In July of 2016, about a mile away, 22-year-old Daniqua Dee Dodds, also a transgender woman, was fatally shot in the neck during a robbery. The prosecutor said that a group of men targeted Dodds and other victims for robbery because they worked as sex workers and had cash.
And probably felt like they were easy targets too. So like I said, it's that intersection of being trans, family turning their back on you, turning to a profession that you know, and there being a community there. There being love and welcoming there because you find other trans women who are also sex workers, and so they welcome you into the community. So you find a home. But that home is in a dangerous space because sex work has been demonized and is a taboo thing to be doing. And so you have to do it in the most seedy and scary situations, which leave you vulnerable to crime. You know, so you have these targets on your back, and it's really unfortunate, man. It's tough life. So that intersection of, you know, trans person and sex work ups the stakes of, you know, the safety of their day-to-day life. And it's really unfortunate. But like I said, I just felt like this was an interesting conversation to have. I thought it was, you know, good to shed light on those cases and mention that one is still unsolved, and the other one, there's a person that was in custody as of 2020, but I don't know the next steps that happen with that case. For all I know, he wasn't the person that did it, and they let him go. I don't know. So there's two cases that I feel like, you know, let's get some updates on these if we're able to. Like I don't, you know, first of all, justice for Ashanti Carmen. Her murder was never solved. So, you know, it's just, you know, let's try to get the ball rolling on things like that. And it was good to talk about. And so Fran, what are you thankful for right now?
I am thankful for being in a position where we have a platform where we can come on here and talk about, you know, stories like this and have these difficult conversations that most people are not comfortable with having, and people will listen to us and, you know, kind of change their mind on things, or maybe want to, you know, take a big step in trying to help out when we tell these different stories. But I am thankful for that we have people that want to listen to us tell these stories and give our opinions and how we feel about them. So I'm thankful for that. Yeah,
for sure. That's good. I'm thankful for time. I think that it's important to be aware of time, and once you are aware of time, you can master it in your own ways. Sometimes it can get away from you. And so I always like to just give thanks to time, being present, understanding that moments don't last forever, whether good or bad, and just being able to weather them or sit in them and enjoy them for the time being. And so I'm just thankful for time and life, and, you know, enjoying the moments that we're sitting in, and also looking back at the moments that have happened and, you know, appreciating them for what they were. And I'm just thankful for time right now. Also, clean air. You know, it's the air is cleared up a bit. It's not as like looking like the Book of Eli outside as it was a few days ago. And so I'm hopeful that, I don't know, the world's not ending. So that's good too. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get up out of here. I've been Alvin Williams, joined as always by my partner, True Crime Fran. So Evan, see you guys next week.
Deuces.
Also, join the Discord, right?
Yeah, join the Discord, Affirmative Murder Pod. If you haven't,